YouTube, what's going on? It's Mark Clark. Today we have 7 tips on how to improve your aim. I've been having a lot of people come into the Twitch chat recently asking how to improve in Warzone. Well, this is going to be the first of many videos in a video series we're calling Warzone Training that is going to help you do exactly that. Quick disclaimer, if you're already a 3+ KD dropping 30 or 40 bombs, this video series is probably not for you. This is for the player that's looking to improve on a 1 or a 2 KD, bump up a whole point, maybe even to a 3 KD, and start dropping their first 20 or 30 bombs. Anyway, just wanted to get that out of the way. Let's hop right into it. Tip number 1 is on sensitivity. This is extremely important. Higher does not mean better. It means snappier, but it also means more missed shots. Oh, but Mark Clark, my favorite streamer uses a 15-15 or a 20-20. I don't care. Use a 4 to a 9 sensitivity. I promise you, you will get the best results. I currently use a 6.6. Most Warzone pros use anywhere from a 5 to a 7. You can get away from using anything from a 4 to a 9. Another quick thing to note about sensitivity is stick with the same one once you change it. Muscle memory is extremely important in this game, so find a sensitivity that works for you and stick with it. Last thing on sensitivity is the dead zone setting. Think of the dead zone as the inner ring of your joystick. Basically, the bigger your dead zone setting is, the more you can move your thumb without your player actually moving in game. The smaller the dead zone, the more reactive your player will be to your thumb's movements. I currently have mine set to the default, which is 0.1. I don't notice much of a difference, but if you do want to go lower, this is totally fine as well. Do note, if you do have stick drift in your controller, increase this dead zone setting and it will help take that away. Tip number 2 is on aim assist and choosing the right settings. Make sure you have your aim assist set to standard, not precision, not focusing. Standard will have the most sticky effect to your aim assist. The next setting with aim assist is scale aim assist with FOV. If you guys are on PC and you guys have this setting, make sure it is disabled, not enabled. It is much better disabled. Let me explain why. For demonstrational purposes, we're going to use this brick wall as our enemy. With normal aim assist, you get slowdown right on the edge of the enemy. But what happens to this brick wall and its size when you change to 80 FOV? As you can see on 80 FOV, the brick wall, our enemy, is much bigger and further across the screen, meaning we get more aim assist from left to right across the screen. Now let's go back to 110. When you have this setting disabled, it treats this brick wall as if it's still on 80 FOV, meaning you get more aim assist than you actually can see of the enemy. You get aim assist maybe all the way out here compared to just on the enemy when it's enabled. Basically, disable the setting and get more aim assist when you use the FOV. Tip number 3 is on controller vibration. Simply put, just disable it. The pros don't use it and you shouldn't either. This one kind of goes without saying, but the vibration of the controller will actually end up hindering your aim. If you guys just use the vibration because you like the in-game feel, I totally get it. But if you're trying to increase your aim, I would suggest disabling it. Tip number 4 is on thumbstick height of your controller. As you can see right here, my right thumbstick, left on your screen, right for me is raised because it gives you an increased range of motion. Basically, that just means you get finer detail, finer movements when that thumbstick is raised compared to the standard lower thumbstick. The reason I have my right one only raised is because this is the one you actually aim with. That's what you need finer detail with and finer precision. Now, to obtain this, you do not have to get a custom controller. All you have to do is go into controlfreak.com. I believe they're only like 10 to 15 bucks. You can get an attachment that actually attaches to your regular thumbstick that will actually raise it for you. I'm not sponsored by Control Freaks, but if you guys want to check out their website, we'll make sure to include it in the link below and you guys can pick one of those up for yourself. Tip number 5 is shooting bots. I can't tell you how important this is if you're really serious about increasing your aim. I do this before every single stream, at least for 10 to 15 minutes. If you guys have Modern Warfare, which I know most of you guys do, I'm going to give you guys the perfect settings for shooting bots. All right, so you're going to want to head right in here to game setup, choose the map. I like Hackney Yard. You can choose whatever you want. Change the game mode to free for all and then go into game rules. The time limit, make sure you set it to unlimited, score limit to unlimited, and match start time to 5 seconds. Now skipping over into the player tab, you're going to want to set your number of lives to unlimited, your max health to 250 points. That just mimics the same health that you would have in Warzone, so that's what I prefer. And then you can change your health regeneration to fast. This one's really important. It's going to help you get in a lot of engagements and not have to reset by dying each time. Now onto the team tab, you're going to want to skip down here to kill cam, make sure that is disabled, and final kill cam as well, just saving you a little bit more time there. And then you're going to want to jump to radar always on. Make sure this is on constant. Once again, this is going to help you get in as many engagements as possible, know where the enemies are, and practice what you're ultimately there for, which is your aim. For the rest of this, just make sure you match my settings here. It should be default, and then we're going to skip into the gameplay setting. The real important one here under the gameplay tab is spawn ammo max. Make sure you set this to max just so you don't run out of ammo. If you want to, you can play on headshot only mode. You can set this to enabled if you want. I played on both. It helps. It's just really really up to your preference. Then skipping down, I think all of these are default, but just make sure you have copied my settings here. Make sure your perks are enabled and the kill streaks are disabled. You don't need any kill streaks while you're practicing your aim. After you're done with game rules, make sure you go to bot setup. I like to change mine to 7 bots and the bot difficulty to recruit. Now, change this and customize it however you like. This is just what I've found most efficient for my training style. It's completely up to you however you want to change this. That should do it for the settings. One thing I do want to add, if you want to play with your aim assist disabled, make sure you go into your settings, disable your aim assist. Shooting bots while your aim assist is disabled is also another really good way to practice your aim. I've done it on both. Once again, this is really just comes down to preference, whatever you want to do. But if you want to take that extra step, you can disable your aim assist and practice your aim even that much further. Tip number 6 is centering or crosshair placement. This is absolutely my favorite aiming tip of all time. As you can see right here, there's the white dot in the middle of your screen. That is now your best friend. All you're going to do for this tip is make sure this is centered everywhere you go throughout the map. You're gonna want to keep this around center height, chest height, where you think enemies will be, even if they're not there. As you can see, I'm going to show you an example of me running throughout this map with my crosshair around chest height of where I think enemies will be. And this always allows me to be ready for engagements and not be caught off guard. I'll show you a quick little example of me centering on this enemy right here. All I have to do is aim in, shoot, and kill them. Now, a lot of people have the issue of having their centering a little bit too low. Most likely, if you're a beginner or you haven't practiced centering before, normally you're aiming too low. It's pretty rare to see people aiming too high as they run throughout the map, but it's human nature. If you go outside, walk right now, most people look down at their feet. People want to know where they're walking, right? You want to see where you're walking. They're looking down at the ground. But in COD, you guys need to make sure this white dot is perfectly centered where you think your enemy's chest will be. Why it's important to have chest height while you're centering is because when you're up close with enemies, you're in buildings, it is extremely important to have it chest height because your jump shots now turn into headshots. And I'll show you an example of what I mean right here. I'm centered, I'm up in close with an enemy. All I have to do is jump and that turns into a headshot. Now, obviously, most of your enemies are not going to be moving like these bots right here, but for demonstrational purposes, that is why you should have your centering around chest height and not too low, like around somebody's thighs or around somebody's heads. As nice as it is to run around with centering and having it ready for a headshot like that, it's not always realistic. People slide cancel, people are crouching around. The chest height tends to be the best place to make sure you are centered as you move throughout the map. Another thing to note about centering is having your crosshair placed on the highest threat locations, meaning if I'm running around here, I have somebody on the UAV and I know they're up in the building, I'm not going to center at chest height on the ground. I'm going to be centering for that window, meaning as I run around this corner, let me kill this guy. As I run around this corner, I'm going to be centered at the window where they would be peeking. Doesn't make sense for me to have that crosshair, that center at the ground. Tip number 7 is arguably one of the most important tips right next to centering, and that is recoil control. Now, every gun has its own recoil pattern. You can always test your own gun's recoil pattern by going up to any wall in the game. I suggest to do this in Plunder so you don't do this in a regular Warzone match. Go into a Plunder match, look at a wall, get your set attachments that you want for your gun. Right now I have the FARA. Zoom in and simply don't touch anything with your controller. Just fire it against the wall. Watch what its recoil does. As you can see, the FARA is pretty basic. It just goes up and a little bit to the left. It really doesn't move much, which is why it's such a popular gun right now. Every gun has a different recoil pattern. If I look at the MP5, I zoom in, not controlling recoil at all, and just hold down on the trigger. You can see where this recoil bounces a little bit right to left, but that's not much at all. It's pretty much straight up once again. But most guns you'll see will just have a vertical recoil pattern. If anything, they'll go up and to the left or a little bit up and to the right, but most of the time they always go up, meaning all you have to do to control the recoil is pull down. A lot of people love to say, oh, somebody's using Cronus, somebody's using hacks, when they really don't understand. It's not that hard to control recoil. Literally zoom in, practice, see what your recoil does. As you can see, this FARA pretty much just goes straight up, and to counteract it, all I'm going to do is pull down on the thumbstick. That's as simple as that. That's recoil control. Here's what it looks like. Oh my gosh, he has Cronus. No, I don't. Just pull down, control your gun's recoil, understand your own gun's recoil pattern, whatever you use, and then counteract it by doing that opposite motion with your right thumbstick. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for the video. I appreciate you guys sticking it out until the very end. If you have any more questions or you want me to dive deeper into any topics we talked about today, please drop a comment below letting me know. I know I could improve these videos as we go on. This is only video number 1 of our Warzone training series. So if you guys want to see more of these videos, make sure you're subbed to the channel. Drop a like if you would for me, if you did learn something new today. I appreciate you guys, and until next time, see you later.